Hi, Greg Lawson here. So you're ready to retire. You're just looking for the perfect place to do it, right? And then some of you, maybe you're not quite ready for retirement, but you're just looking for a good city to live in. Well, we're going to talk about why I believe San Antonio to be pretty much the ideal city. We'll talk about the weather here, natural disasters. We'll talk about the economy, the crime rate. How about the cost of living? And then we'll talk about things that we do for fun. On the weekends, if you're still working or if you're retired, you can do it any day of the week you want. But things like golf, things like fishing, things like hunting, boating, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to do it right now. So if this is your first time to my channel, please subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified whenever I post another great informative video. Also, I want you to know that you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. All of my contact information will be in the comments section below. Now let's talk about San Antonio. I believe San Antonio is just one of the greatest cities there is. For retirement, it's excellent. If you're not retiring, and say you're just, raising your family and continuing your career and you just want to be in a great city, then you should really consider San Antonio. And I'm going to get into the reasons why I believe that. There's different weather and natural phenomena that go on in different parts of the world, different parts of the country. You can go on the West Coast and you've got earthquakes and a lot of other things. Oh my goodness. I lived in California for a while. If it wasn't flooding and landsliding or a forest fire or an earthquake, oh my goodness, there was always something going on out there. I was even out there during the Rodney King riots and they had curfews and all of that. So that's the West Coast. Now, a lot of people think Florida is the best place to retire. And it's a very popular place where retirees go. I think it's a nice place if you like running from hurricanes. Well, the good news is we don't have hurricanes in San Antonio. I grew up around tornadoes, up in Nebraska. We'd hide in the basement. And then I moved to Oklahoma, where we were still in Tornado Alley. But guess what? In Oklahoma, they don't have basements. Go figure that one out. But anyway, we don't have that here. Never been a tornado in San Antonio. There's never been a hurricane in San Antonio. There's never been an earthquake in San Antonio. Now, not to say that any of those things couldn't happen. I think only God knows. Anything can happen anywhere. But it's never happened. So it's the likelihood is pretty low. We did have a pretty bad winter storm last year, but it was like 30 years since the last one. So it's a pretty rare thing also. So that's one of the great reasons I like San Antonio. But let's talk about some other great reasons to like San Antonio. Let's look at violent crime. Here are the 20 cities that have the most violent crime. St. Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis, Little Rock. I don't want to read the whole list, but that's the top 20. Chicago actually is at the bottom. That kind of surprises me that it's down that far. But the point I want to make is that San Antonio is not on that list. San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the United States. And violent crime is low. So, comparatively to the other major cities, as you can see, we're not on the list. So that's a great thing, right? Here is a list of top 7 most affordable cities in the United States. Well, there's Memphis. Well, it was also one of the top violent crime cities. There's Tulsa. There's Oklahoma City. St. Louis was the #1 for violent crime, but it's also affordable. And there's San Antonio. We're #5. We're the 5th most affordable city in the United States. That's pretty darn good. I'll take that. Here's a cost of living calculator that I found, and I will put a link to this in the description in case you want to pull it up for yourself. But what this does, you can compare the cost of living in 2 different cities. Maybe the city that you're coming from. You want to see how it stacks up if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio. So if you live in San Diego and you want to move to San Antonio, then it will be good for you to know that the cost of living here is 32% lower. If you make $75,000 in San Diego, you'll be just fine on $51,000 here in San Antonio. So if you move here and you get a job that'll pay you $75,000 like you were getting paid in San Diego, guess what? You're going to be doing a lot better than you were doing in San Diego. So those are some of the serious reasons why I believe San Antonio is just the best city there is. And now we're going to talk about some of the fun reasons. How about that? Okay, so let's talk about the things that you like to do for fun. Are you a hunter? Do you like to fish? Do you like to play golf? We got all that stuff here. Let's talk about hunting. Let's look at all these places in red. Those are all hunting reserves, not very far from San Antonio. As a matter of fact, not long ago, my brother-in-law came all the way from Alabama. He brought his 10-year-old son. He wanted him to be able to shoot his first deer. So he came here. They went out to a hunting reserve, and they got that deer. So if you like hunting, that's not a problem. We've got it here. There's ranchers that just rent out little portions of their property as hunting reserves. You set up your deer blind, whatever you're hunting, and, you do your thing. Have a good time. You like to play golf? Well, again, everything in red right there, those are golf courses in the area. There are plenty of them. Over here, you see La Cantera. That's a PGA course. That's a very nice course. I actually spent a weekend there a while back watching a PGA tournament. They've got little haciendas you can rent. You can stay there. When you rent a hacienda, guess what? It comes with a golf cart. It was really cool. Yeah, my ex, she used to work for the governor, so we used to get invited to a lot of events like that. We'd go to these events. It wouldn't cost us anything. It was really nice. But anyway, yeah, lots of golf courses everywhere around San Antonio. So if that's what you like to do, not a problem. We got you covered. Now let's say you like to fish. These are all fishing lakes in the red. All the red spots there. Plenty of them. This little one down here is where I used to take my son. My youngest son loved to fish when he was a kid. And we'd go there to Calaveras Lake. But I'll tell you about a great spot. Right up here is Canyon Lake. Now that's a big lake. There's a lot of fishing that goes on there, and also just boating. There's a Canyon Lake Yacht Club, and I've had the pleasure of hanging out with those guys. A good friend of one of my girlfriends had a yacht, or a boat. When I think of yachts, I think of like the big old thing that Tiger Woods bought for I don't know how many millions of dollars he paid for it, or but these aren't like necessarily like that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some nice boats out there. There's some nice kind of, I would call them houseboats, because you go under deck and then there's a living room, there's bedrooms, there's a kitchen. It's pretty much a house, a floating house. But then there's smaller ones where, there's just like sleeping quarters under deck. And they're in the yacht club too. So, you don't have to have a multi-million-dollar yacht to be in the yacht club. It's not the stuffy, sedity, people like that, They're actually very nice people. What they do, they go out there on Canyon Lake on the weekend and they tie all their boats together. And then you can go from boat to boat to boat. They'll be out there grilling on the deck of their boats, and there people share their food. You might step from one boat to the next, and the guy will hand you a hamburger off the grill. You step over to the next boat, he might hand you some shrimp. It's just really a cool environment, friendly, just the kindest people just that you've ever been around, and you have a wonderful time out there. Some of them are fishing, most of them are not. Most of them are drinking beer and eating barbecue off the grill and just having a good time, because that's what it's about on the weekends. And then if you're retired, hell, you can be out there any day of the week that you want. So those are the reasons why I believe San Antonio is just one of the greatest cities ever. And with that, I'm going to rest my case. Your Honor, I just want to remind you, if you got some value from this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing and ring that bell, and then you'll be notified when I post another video about the great city of San Antonio.